Hey guys, welcome into Fantasy Football Academy 2020. I am the Dean, and back with us again is Professor Extraordinary, Mr. Chet Yoder. Professor Chet, how you doing?
I'm doing absolutely splendid. How are you?
Doing good. Trying to get over this COVID thing. I've said before on my previous episodes that we're kind of dealing with a little bit of that here. So we've been cooped up, but I've been trying to put out the content for the people. So I appreciate everybody listening, everybody showing the love and the prayers and good wishes. So thank y'all for that. We're here today for a special Wednesday edition of Mock Draft Monday. I know it's crazy. We just did a mock draft for Monday, and we're back again. But we got the professor here. We're going to get a little out-of-the-box thinking on this one. We're going to get kind of the West Coast feel via Louisiana. Okay, so we get kind of going all over the place on this one. Now, before we get into the draft, we were talking off before the show started. We saw that HBO chose for Hard Knocks Chargers. Now, I've got my own take on who could have been a better choice. Who's your take on who could have been a better choice for Hard Knocks?
Do you want the biased answer or the unbiased answer?
Give me both. Give me both.
I think the most intriguing team, and I hate to say this, is the San Francisco 49ers. And I say that, and that's why I know you're grinning, because look at what they've been through. They were not supposed to be anything last year. And they obviously come out of the scene, come obviously, 7 minutes away from winning the Super Bowl. Don't get me started on that. Every year they deal with injuries. Last year they dealt with injuries up to this most severity. And they still were the number one seed in the NFC and still were able to really kind of coast their way to the Super Bowl. Only they get stopped by the Chiefs. But, I mean, this year, once again, dealing with injuries. Deebo Samuel, out with his setbacks. They got some injuries on defense. They've really got to figure things out offensively. They got to know who their running back is. They have a lot of questions. And people still think the 49ers are the best team in football. I think this would have been a good pick to go for Hard Knocks, if you ask me.
Yeah, now look, as far as drama and things like that, I could throw out the Homer answer and be, let's throw out the team formerly known as the Redskins.
Do we want to get into that organization right now?
Hey, look, tell me that would not have been great TV, okay? I mean, you would have had basically you talk about the Real Housewives series. This would have been, the Real Football Players series, okay? So
I have something to say. Something to say, Dean. Okay, now this is before everything came out with the allegations and all that stuff. The less I get to see of Dan Snyder, the better my life is able to operate. And you can agree with me.
Look, any diehard Redskin fan, Washington fan, Red Tail fan, Warrior fan, whatever we're going to be now, will agree that Dan Snyder is not the owner that we wanted, okay? The only reason that we put up with Jack Kent Cooke for so long is because we were winning, okay? During the 80s, we were one of the teams of the decade for the 80s, along with the Niners, okay? We had 2 Super Bowls. You guys had 3 or something like that. Sure. And then there was the Cowboys, okay? So, we put up with Jack Kent Cooke for that long, and then we got Mr. Monopoly playing fantasy football in real life, Dan Snyder, okay? But look, my pick for who HBO should have chosen is the hype train down south, currently known as the Bucks. Okay, I think that with everything that's going down, with having Brady come to town, Gronk coming out of retirement, everybody just hyping the heck, including Madden, hyping the heck out of the Bucks. I mean, Madden gave Gronk a 95. How do you give a tight end who hasn't been his true self in at least 2 years, coming from a year out of retirement, and give him a 95 on a video game? I mean, come on.
He's Gronk. I mean, he's the sexiest tight end, in the league. I mean, let's not
Come
kid
on, your boy
ourselves.
Kittle. Come on, your boy Kittle can give him a run for his money right now.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
well, Kittle's the overall package, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Because I like blocking tight ends as much as I like catching tight ends, and I think you can agree with me on that. Blocking is huge, when you can do your part there, because a lot of tight ends don't like to get too dirty like that, But,
yeah. Jimmy Graham. But anyway, all right. Now look, we're gonna get into the mock draft here. We're gonna do something we haven't done before, which is a randomized selection. So we're gonna pull it up here. As always, we're using Fantasy Pros. I love the Fantasy Pros format. It gives you a lot of tools to use. I showed in the last one that I did how it has that undo option where you can make a pick, see who's going to fall to you, then go back and see if you make another pick, who else is going to fall to you. So that's kind of a cool feature to have if you're doing this by yourself. Standard scoring league, snake formation with a basic pick logic, 12 teams, and we're going to randomize our selection. So computer's giving us 10th.
Okay.
We get the 10th spot, and we're going to go with 1 flex, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 6 bench spots, a kicker, and a defense, and, of course, the tight end. Now, we're not going to put a timer on Professor Chet here because we're going to get some opinion as we go through this. So let's go ahead and start. And as always, guys, you know what time it is. It is Zia of Lafayette time, sponsor of the show. Love the guys down there, Heath, Tucker, Leonard, all those guys. If you're in the Lafayette area and you want to come down and get some good food, they're right behind the movie theater off of Johnson. They're off of Doucette Road, right behind the movie theater in front of Reds. So going down to see them. They still got the family bundles for starting at $35. It's a great deal. Come on down and see them. So
what do you recommend? What do you recommend if I go to Zia's?
Hey, look, if you go to Zia's and you don't get something off the rotisserie, you're missing out. Right now, they got the chicken off the rotisserie. If you're not big on the chicken and you want something meatier, go for the Thai ribs. But regardless of what you get, you can't pass up on the corn grits. The corn grits are a staple of Lafayette Zia. If I could walk around with some Zia grits in my pocket and I was a drinking man, I wouldn't have to pay for a drink in Lafayette at all. Okay, you could trade this stuff in for a nice size tab. All right. Okay, so we look at our draft board here and see the big 3 gone. We know that these guys are going to be gone when you get to them. We see Michael Thomas at the 4, Derrick Henry at the 5, then Dalvin Cook, and I don't know about you, Professor, but I'm laying off Dalvin Cook because I don't know what's going to happen, and the man has yet to finish a season.
True.
So that's a little high risk for me. I'm kind of softening on Alvin Kamara as a first-round pick. I can kind of see that there would be a push to get him back to prominence in that offense. Apparently he was dealing with a lot of injuries last year. Tyreek Hill, I am so hands off of this guy, it's not even funny. And then Josh Jacobs coming into his second year with Gruden in Vegas, and it is so weird to say Vegas and in reference to the NFL. It's not even funny unless you're talking about somebody who did something that they weren't supposed to on a weekend in Vegas. But Josh Jacobs is really high on my board this year.
So I'm up?
You're up for the 10th spot. So who are we going with? We can go to our cheat sheets here and see who we've got to pick from.
Yeah, I see it. You're going to hate me when I say this because I was dogging this guy just as much as you were a couple weeks ago. I'm going to go Julio Jones.
Hey, look, I got nothing wrong with the Julio pick. You're going for the volume here. This is not a touchdown-driven pick by any stretch of anyone's imagination. So you're going for the volume because he's going to get his yardage. He's going to get his touches.
I need it.
So, and we see, after we take Julio, you're going to scroll down here. We're going to see that Devontae Adams is gone, Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon, and Chris Godwin, who, again, I am at your own risk for him. I'm not even touching him or Evans.
Joe, there's a lot of good things about Joe Mixon, but
yeah,
Cincinnati's just one of those teams. We just don't know what's going to happen there yet.
And I'm not trusting him with a rookie quarterback, not until Burrow proves that he is the guy who they drafted.
You're not sold on Burrow, huh?
Hey, look, I was born in Springfield, Missouri. You got to show me.
He's a good-looking kid, but we don't know. He's undersized. That's what concerns me.
Well, they said the same thing about Drew Brees, and we see how that turned out. But it also took him to get to New Orleans via being passed up by Nick Saban in Miami to get a Super Bowl. So,
wow, give me D-Hop.
We're gonna take D-Hop. All right, so we're going wide receiver to kick off.
I'm going a little different this year.
And guys, we see up here the top tight ends gone early. I've said this before in the drafts that I've done. If you want any of the big three when it comes to tight ends and when it comes to the top two quarterbacks, you will have to reach. And if you're uncomfortable reaching, I understand. Build your team, build your quality, and find value later in the draft.
That's right. You always get those diamonds in the rough, and I think people fail to see that,
True. Now we see Mike Evans gone at the turn, Kenyon Drake
good.
Gone. Now the Clyde Edwards-Helaire midway through the second, there's no way I'm taking CEH at that spot. That's just way too high for an unproven rookie. He's the first rookie off the board. I'm not doing it. He's in. Everybody was jumping up and down about when he went to KC and the fact that he was in the perfect system. That's great. But Damon Williams was supposed to be in the perfect system last year, and he finished 34th. So I'm not convinced that that's going to happen because, like I said in the last episode, the run game in KC is going to go through going through Patrick Mahomes. If Patrick decides to run, he's going to run. It's up to him whether or not he's going to hand this ball off or not. So you can't depend on having that one guy. Like, it's not Carolina. This isn't Christian McCaffrey. This isn't Zeke. This isn't Saquon. You don't know who's getting the ball in KC.
That's right. I mean, Travis Kelce didn't put up the best offensive numbers that maybe fantasy owners would have expected. Obviously, was he good enough? Yes. Is he still the best tight end in football? Probably so. But he didn't put up those astonishing touchdown catches in the red zone, and I think that was a little disappointing for fantasy owners concerning him.
Definitely. And, now everybody knows my take on Kenny Golladay. I'm loving Golladay this year. What's your take on him?
He's good. I think he's definitely a guy that you want to take. I don't know if you want to reach out for him, but I like what he's definitely going to offer.
All right, so we're up again, and we see James Conner going and Odell.
Sure.
Good riddance. I'm glad not to have them as an option.
You don't like Odell?
I don't like Odell is overrated. I've said this before. I've said it before. Odell overrated. He had one good catch against the Cowboys, that one-handed grab that just catapulted him into superstardom. And he's never really, in my mind, lived up to the hype that he is.
He's not worth the money he's making, that's for sure.
He's not worth the money he's making. Not when Jarvis Landry's outperforming him. And in fantasy world, you can get Jarvis Landry a lot later than you have to pay for Odell. And Odell's busted 3 years in a row. So, that was saying
it's probably better.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. What happens third time? You're out. So
it's a shampoo boy.
I know. That's it.
Yeah.
And apparently he brought the blonde back, so I don't know what that's going to do. But
All right, who do we got?
All right, let's check out the cheat sheet.
I got to look at my board here.
So we got running back, we got wide receiver. Went with Julio and D Hop.
All right, I'm going to go with your boy. I'm trusting you, Todd Gurley.
All right, now hold on. Todd Gurley's not my boy. The elder statesman of this group is DJ for me.
Okay, but did you not back Todd Gurley to have a big year this year? Don't even back out what you were saying the other day.
He can have a big year. I'll leave this for somebody else's headache with the knees. We'll go ahead and take him out.
I need my back.
The upside is going to be tremendous. Okay, the upside can be tremendous.
I need my back.
Now coming back around, we got Fournette, DJ, David Montgomery, Taylor's in this. Your boy Raheem is there, and Lev Bell. Look, I
used to love Le'Veon Bell, but I thought he's just too big for his head right now. Like, you know what I mean?
I said it on the last episode. I got 5 words for Le'Veon Bell. Adam Gase, New York Jets. Okay? Look, anything having to do with the Jets. I'm even big on Robbie Anderson down in Carolina this year, if you want to take him late. Okay? Because he's away from Adam Gase and he's away from the Jets. So.
Hey, Adam Gase did say publicly they're going to play meaningful games in November and December. And I think when they said meaningful, I think he meant that we're preparing for the next year to see what we got for 3 years from now or whatever.
I think he's talking about Madden. I think he's talking about they're going to be in the, because that's the only way that the Jets are going to get to the playoffs. It's if they play Madden. And they probably have to be the Niners to be that. So.
What do we got on our board here?
Okay, on the board, we've got Julio, D-Hop, and Gurley. And we saw Ingram and Singletary. Don't ask me how the computer's picking Singletary over these other guys when these guys, Zach Moss, sitting behind him ready to take his job. DK Metcalf gone and Juju is gone. 2 receivers that I've talked up on this show before. So I like DK and I like Juju.
I always liked Juju more than I liked Antonio Brown, really, to be honest, as far as headaches concerned.
Well, I like Juju, but I only like Juju as long as Big Ben's there. Once Big Ben is down, then I'm loving some DeAndre Johnson if Big Ben goes down. So.
All right, let's see what we got here.
Okay, so where are we looking at? Now, if you want to see wide receiver, this is our wide receiver group right there.
Go out of the box here. Give me Russell Wilson.
Going with Russell. Okay, so we're going Russell in the 4th, and anybody who's watched the show, guys, I've said this before, if you want one of that tier of quarterback and you're picking as late as we are, that's something you're going to have to do is you're going to have to reach, because Russell's been going in the 5th and 6th. But if you're on the back end of the round, you're going to have to reach to guarantee that pick. You're looking for positional advantage. Okay, that's a term. Academy grads, I want you to learn positional advantage, okay? That's the picks where we look at taking Lamar Jackson early. We look at taking Pat Mahomes early. You look at taking one of the big 3 tight ends early so you can have that positional advantage. So when it gets later in the draft, you can find, like Professor Chet said, those diamonds in the rough, those gems later in the draft that actually come in handy a little bit down the road in fantasy.
I don't know what Dak Prescott's going to be.
I'm looking. Fortunately, I'm looking for him to have a big year because he's betting on himself, and I know what
You
happened with.
say that painfully as a Redskins fan.
Oh, hey, look, painfully ain't the word. I said it before. I was jumping up and down that when July 5th or 16th rolled around and there was no deal done. He was signing on the franchise tag, and I'm hoping that Jerry Jones is just seeing, delusions of grandeur with Andy Dalton stepping in. They can let Dak walk and not have to pay him, and him wind up out of the division or possibly even with the Washington. Wouldn't that be?
The funny thing about Dak Prescott is people think he doesn't have good numbers. He's put up good numbers.
Oh, yeah.
But can he maintain that? Dallas is such a distraction. There's a lot of pressure there. I just don't think it's eventually going to work for him there.
Yeah, and I mean, it does. And I mean, the vote of confidence has got to be there from the organization. I mean, look what happened with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins bet on himself 2 years in a row. Third year rolls around, the man gets the first fully guaranteed contract in NFL history, $82 million.
You like
then
that?
Then turns around and gets another guaranteed contract from the same team. I mean, he went to Minnesota, and he's got – I don't even know if he has a playoff win with Minnesota.
How many times did Washington franchise tag him? 3 times?
Twice. And they tried to do it 3 times. They would have done it 3 times, but it was going to cost them too much money. So they had to let him walk.
They did the right thing, though. They didn't get stuck with him.
They didn't. Well, trust me. Look, I would have rather got stuck with the second. I would love to have gotten stuck with the second most accurate quarterback in NFL history behind Drew Brees. So the man has the second best accuracy behind Drew.
Washington had something good with Alex Smith, and of course, I mean, he went down.
Yeah, he's
heinous.
Alex Smith. So
it's ridiculous.
Yeah. All right. So draft board. So we got our 2 wide receivers. We got one of our running backs, and we got a Mr. Reliable fantasy wise for quarterback. We see David Montgomery, Raheem Mostert, and I see the DeAndre Swift here, and I cringe. And
I was cringing at Debo, but okay, go ahead.
Huh?
I was cringing at the Debo pick. I
don't even bother with the ever since the injury. I'm not even.
That's it. It's over.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah. So I'm out. And the Keenan Allen, you got to show me that you can be something without Phillip Rivers before I believe in you in the 5th round.
Got the T.Y. Hilton train going.
Yeah, now I'm on the hype train for T.Y. I'm on the hype train.
Well, he came out of nowhere. When he was picked by fantasy football, he was like you were looked down upon when you got T.Y. Hilton, because there were a lot of fantasy owners reaching for T.Y. Hilton, and we're talking 3rd, 4th round. Yeah. But this guy put up numbers, and T.Y. really, that train has been kind of chewing along, and it's been quite nicely. He's got great legs. I love the way he plays, and he's a name that you really have to watch out for if you don't own him on your team.
Yeah, I don't want to face him. I want him on my side.
Right.
And one of the gems, we talk about gems later in the draft, and I know the 5th round doesn't sound like, too much later, but David Montgomery in the 5th, I like David Montgomery just on the sheer volume. I mean, they got head coach got basically torched in the media about trying to get too cute with having Tariq Cohen come in when he should have gone with Montgomery last year on 3rd and goal, 3rd and short, whatever. Sure. And now he's being pressured to use David Montgomery more. So I'm all about David Montgomery this year.
Good.
All right. So
here we go. I'm up. What do I got here?
And we're on the short turn this go around.
Wow. Give me Cam Akers.
I like Cam, and I said it, I believe I said it the last time we were together, but Cam is probably the only rookie running back who's actually has a clear path to a starting job.
I like him because I know he's going to be the guy.
Yeah, he's it.
And that's so I need my yards. And this is one thing fantasy owners have to understand is this the situation that they're in, that players are in. You talked about this last time. You've talked about this really week in and week out through your episodes. Is you have to look at the situation.
Exactly.
You can't look at the name all the time. And I like
exactly. Exactly. And guys, if you go down bottom wherever you're at and you subscribe, like, share for me, I'd appreciate it. But I want you to go back and look at my episode that I do with the mistakes that are made during fantasy drafts, and please refresh your memory about them, because relying on the big name is one of the mistakes that a lot of fantasy players make. And this is something that we preach here at the Academy, is the environment. No other show that I have seen, and you guys know I'm not big on bragging about what I do or don't do here, but one of the things that I have not seen is I do not see guys concentrate on what's happening around the player. They always want to go to the stat sheet. The stat sheet can be manipulated. The stat sheet can be twisted and turned to make an argument for or against whoever you're talking about. So look at the environment and look who is around that particular player and what kind of situation that they're in to kind of gauge their success.
Got to get balance. You got to have a balance in your team.
All right, so we're back again. We made the Cam Akers, so we got Cam and Gurley. We got the former Ram and the current Ram. I don't know if that was by design, but
you want to scroll down a little bit here? There we go.
Here we go.
What do we got?
So Dak and Deshaun are gone.
I'm not interested. Those two.
Like I said, the 6th round is usually where these guys are going. So
I like Devontae. I like Devontae Parker. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm thinking that's going to be interesting to Miami with Tua. I'm going to see how that works. You know what I mean? I'm very curious to see how they play.
I like Parker for as long as Fitzpatrick's with him. Once Fitzpatrick leaves, then the huge question mark of Tua comes in. And you're praying that there's chemistry there, or Parker's at least as good as advertised.
Let's go to the board.
Okay.
Let me see what tight ends are available. There we are. All right. I'm going to take a gamble. You're going to hate me for this. Give me Gronk. Give me Gronk. I know. I do this for the show, too, because I know you're going to rip me.
Oh, look. I know, look, I just spoke about one of the mistakes that are made during the draft, and we just talked about the big name. But there's one that I'm not sure if Professor Chet is partaking this morning. Because we're doing this show. We started the show at about 10. It's about 10:30, and I haven't seen him sip on anything. But remember, friends do let friends draft drunk. And, pick, I don't know if that's chemically induced or not, but we don't know.
Just taking a pick on the wild side here.
All right.
Everybody has that pick on the wild.
He's got that man crush, man
crush Monday. You remember?
Yeah. So
back in the 1037, the game days.
All right, so we're up again, and we see. Yeah, I see the Kerryon Johnson pick and the DK Dobbins in the 7th.
Wow, never thought Aaron Rodgers would be down all the way down that far.
Well, 7th, and he's going after Josh Allen. I think that's more of an insult than anything. So
it just shows you Aaron Rodgers isn't the same, and your wife can agree with me on that.
Well, I don't know if she'll agree with you because I'm not allowed to say on air what she responded to your comment about Rodgers. So we'll just leave it at that, and we'll move on from the Aaron Rodgers speak. So
okay,
my wife is a diehard cheesehead, even though she was born and raised in Louisiana.
I don't get
her
it.
second team is the Saints because her dad was a diehard Packer fan. So she was a daddy's girl, and she picked up from dad her love of sport. So,
good for
yeah,
she's got the fire, that's for sure.
Most definitely. She's even got the Aaron Rodgers leggings to wear for the draft. And let's not forget, she is the reigning champ. Her team name this year is even returning champ. So she is embracing the defending the title to the floor.
All right, what do I need? Let's see here. I don't even know where I'm at.
All right, so we got 2 running backs. We got 2 wide receivers. We got our tight end locked up in a crazy house probably, but
yeah.
And the quarterback. So
I guess I got to get another running back.
All right, so running backs, and guys, this is we're down in tier 5, dipping into tier 6. So this is why, like, I'm glad that Chet kind of went with a little receiver heavy, and we were light on the running back. So you guys can see that once you get down this far, it gets really hard to pick a decent quality running back, even though it's only like the 7th round later in the draft.
You know who I like? I like your boy from Washington. Give me Geis.
Now, look, if Darius Geis can stay healthy, he's a beast.
I love his build. I love everything. I love what he did in college. Obviously, we saw that. I'm going to go with him.
I like it. The only thing that worries me about any Washington running back is the plethora of people in that backfield. That backfield is more crowded than a bus trying to go across the border. Okay, it's cramped. Okay.
Yeah.
So once they weed everything out, we'll see how things shake out. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Let's see the board.
Okay, so looking at the board, and I see Jordan Howard gone and James White. You got Matt Breida down there with Jordan Howard in Miami now. That's going to be – they're basically canceling each other out for fantasy.
They really are, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Higbee, as far as tight end, hit between – you've had McVay come out talking about how Everett can be reused in a better way. Even after Higbee had that stretch at the end of the season between weeks 13 and 16, where and 17 actually, where he just blew up out of nowhere. So we don't know what we're going to get there. And I think that there's just way better value later on as far as tight end goes. My boy Noah Fant is still out there. That's my late round pick if you don't get one of the big 3. I love me some Noah Fant.
Where are we at here?
Okay, we are here with the Darius Geis, and so we got Gurley, Akers, and Geis for our running backs. We got D-Hop and Julio for our wide receivers. So I don't know about you, Professor, but I think we're about due for a wide receiver pull here.
Yeah, we got to get – I was just thinking that too.
All right, so let's scroll down and see who all we have. Top of the list, it was my alternative to Odell in Jarvis Landry.
Give me Jarvis.
Jarvis.
Yeah.
Now, as we near the end, you see every wide receiver in that tier is now gone, including Emmanuel Sanders. And I don't know about you, but Emmanuel Sanders is going to be hard for me to pick with confidence because you don't know how much he's going to be used.
Right. Right. He has never been or lately he's not the number one receiver anywhere. And is he the number 2 or 3? You just don't know.
Yeah, he's right now, as far as the Saints offense goes, he's there mainly to try to help take pressure off of Michael Thomas so Thomas can just go against single teams and not double teams, because he's good enough to have to respect for his ability, but in the whole grand scheme of the Saints offense, it's Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, and then whoever else is open.
Can he have 4 or 5 catches a game? I don't even know. It's tough to say because Breeze and Peyton, they like to run the ball a lot too. And that's why Kamara is obviously, the man for fantasy too. I mean, he's a big fantasy guy.
All right, so scroll up here real quick. This is what we got tier 6 for running backs. And then tier 6 for wide receivers.
Cool. Kind of see who else everybody else got.
And we see down here.
Yeah.
See Christian Kirk is gone.
Sure.
Marvin Jones. So right here in this round, there's a lot of second fiddles here in the ninth. Right. So Tyler Boyd, second fiddle. John Brown, second fiddle now that Stephon Diggs is in Buffalo. We just spoke about Matt Breida and Jordan Howard being in Miami together. Phil Lindsay, that's another crowded backfield in Denver that you don't want any part of. McCole Hardman. The issue with McCole Hardman is the same issue that we're going to have with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Damian Williams in KC. You never know who's going to be getting the ball. Christian Kirk, he was supposed to be –
a lot of targets.
He was supposed to be the number 1 this year. But now you got D-Hop that's going to demand the bulk of the targets. So he's to playing second fiddle. And it's a weak second fiddle because you still got the ageless wonder in Larry Fitzgerald.
When's he going to retire? When's he going to retire? He just keeps playing.
He's never going to retire. He's just going to fade away. He's going to catch a ball in the end zone one game.
Be gone.
And just disappear into the stands.
Sunset.
He'll fade out. It'll be a fade out. It's not going to be a retirement.
He always thinks about retirement. Has he not talked about it publicly like the last couple of years?
I think every time he talks about retirement, his hair recedes. So
he's still dangerous.
Yeah. The funny thing is, you can still make an argument for him being viable in fantasy, which is unreal.
Yeah.
And then Marvin Jones, second fiddle to Kenny Galladay, Darrell Henderson, who is going to be second fiddle apparently to Cam Akers, and Emmanuel Sanders, we've already discussed.
All right. Let's see who we got here. Who do I want to go with?
And the Will Fuller pick was right after Jordan Howard. No. Just no. The guys get hurt way too much. Just ask my wife. She had him last year for a short stint, and she got so fed up she just dropped him.
What do I need?
So we looking wide receiver, we looking running back here.
Let me see the running back real quick. I don't like that wide receiver class right now. Let's go with a wide out. Oh boy. Let's see here. All right, I got it. Let's go with CeeDee Lamb.
Something in me, my spidey sense started going off as soon as I saw that name. And I hear you mulling it over in your head, and you're like, what's good for the show? What's going to really get him just up in arms? Let's pick a cowboy.
Hey, it's as bad as
now look, guys,
it's as bad as your boy Colt picking Zeke last year.
Hey, For those of you who don't know, we're going to give you a little brief history here on the background of this one. My son, Colt, and my wife, Amanda, were both in our league last year, and we finished 1, 2, and 3, okay? I had an agreement with my wife that she would not pick any Cowboy and I would not pick any Falcon because she was a Saints fan, okay? So I never made – and we needed a fillers because we needed one more person to make the league even. So my son decided to play, and he wound up with the 3rd overall pick. My boss, the guy who makes my schedule, happens to be a diehard Cowboys fan, and he had 2 picks ahead of me at 5. I had 7, but my son Colt had 3, and we did not have a discussion about not picking the Cowboys.
He was just there simply to fill.
out of the blue, and he was made it for the draft. Picked Zeke as his 3rd pick after Saquon and Christian McCaffrey went off the board. So
man,
I was glad that my boss didn't get him because it just kind of a little knife in his side about that.
Yeah.
But to actually have my son draft him it bugged me all year.
Oh, Zeke.
For the first time ever on Fantasy Football Academy 2020 during a mock draft, a Cowboy is taken. So this is a historic event, just to let you know, Chet.
You're welcome.
That's not a thank you.
I like CD Lamb, though, because he's going to get the touches. I feel like he'll be good, especially late. I think he's a little
I think he'll be good, but the only thing is the same thing I talk about crowded backfields, that there's a target a very crowded wide receiver core there that is pretty much equal on any given day.
True.
I mean, you got CD Lamb, who probably is going to end up being the more talented of the 3. And he, just because he's fresh, he's a rookie, that he's going to not be as good, but he's learning. And then you got Michael Gallup, who's just on this kind of steady plateau. And then you've got Amari Cooper, who's on a freaking roller coaster. We don't know what's going to go on with him because we got a really good Amari Cooper in the first part of the season, and then he got hurt and came back and was to say he was a shell of his former self is an understatement beyond belief. He was basically just a distraction the last half of the season. Okay,
where we're at here.
Here we go. So Alexander Madison, my personal favorite for insurance policy, is gone. Darius Slayton, Zach Moss, and Tyreek Cohen, who there's no way on God's green earth I'm ever thinking about touching.
Let's think about a running back here. Let's see what's left. See if we got any diamonds in the rough on this baby.
All right.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I see one that I like, and I see one that's going to be an insurance policy if he's anything.
Give me Tony Pollard. I didn't want to do it. Huh? That ain't it.
Guys, subscribers, viewers, members of the Academy, he's torturing me now. 2 Cowboys, same draft.
I like Tony Pollard because he's going to get the touches in Dallas. Who are you going to go with at that pick?
If I was going to go with any insurance policy, I'm going with A.J. Dillon.
Okay, I thought you were going to say AP for a second.
No.
Okay.
I've said it on the show before. I'll say it again with the witness in the show. I'm not touching anybody in the Redskins' backfield. Okay, it's too crowded. You don't know what's going on. New OC, new head coach. We don't know what's going on, and there's just too many options. I mean, they got Bryce Love last year. They had Geist the year before. They brought in AP. I think there's actually a couple other guys that Antonio Gibson was drafted this year. And
You must be thrilled Jay Gruden is no longer there anymore.
it's I'm thrilled about Gruden. That wasn't the Gruden that I wanted. When I heard that Gruden was coming to Washington, I was like, we got John out of the country. Awesome.
And you're like, Jay, who's this guy?
Chucky in DC. I was like, yeah, let's do a remake. All right.
He would fit the Skins mold, I guess.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love it. Now I'm gonna tell you right now, I'll say it on the show, I'll say it before the season starts. I love Ron Rivera in DC. I think Rivera brings an air of confidence and professionalism and just quality coaching to Washington.
He likes to run that riverboat too, and fans like that. Fans love that.
Hey, I love the risk. I love Riverboat Ron.
Yeah.
I will ride and die with Riverboat Ron until his tenure.
Good old Jay Gruden, man. Oof.
Yeah, good riddance. He's OC. Where's he OC at now?
Oh, is he? Oh, I forgot where he's at now.
He's an OC. I can't remember where he's at, but everybody was talking about him being a better OC than a head coach, which I will totally agree with. A la Norv Turner.
I was about to say, you just read my mind.
Yeah, I didn't like Norv Turner when he came over simply because he was from Dallas. I didn't want anything to do with the architect of the Dallas offense. Not as a head coach. If he had come in as an OC, I'd be like, hey, cool. But not
you know who Norv Turner did a good job on was Alex Smith.
Yes.
He's the real guy behind Alex Smith.
Yeah.
Not Jim Harbaugh as much. But.
All right, so let's look at the board.
All right, what do we got here?
And we see your Niners going off the board here.
Oh, yeah.
10th. Guys, way too early for a defense. Okay. And I think it's Baltimore, the Ravens and the Steelers are both gone. Now, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, this is part of having a computer pick against you with a pick logic. If you look at the teams that have these guys gone, they all have tight ends. They all have tight ends, quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, all gone already. Okay. So they're basically just filling in their positional. Okay. They're not worried about quality on the team. They're not worried about structure. They're just worried about filling in a spot. And that's what you get when you draft against a computer versus real life people. So keep that in mind. And that's the reason why I encourage everyone to do more and more mock drafts so that you're able to what we call pivot at certain times in the draft, to where when something doesn't work out, you can pivot to another pick, another strategy, because you got to take what the draft gives you. Okay, so Watkins is gone. Now, N'Keal Harry. I like N'Keal Harry this year, late. It's going in the 11th round, 11th, 12th round. I'm cool with N'Keal Harry. Jamison Crowder. It's the Jets.
I hope Cam Newton can get Harry that ball.
Hey, look, all he has to do is be able to throw it in his vicinity. The guy's like 6'4", 6'6", something like that, and he's just a beast.
I wonder how long Cam Newton's going to stay healthy, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's always been.
Well, then we'll get to see the experiment that is Jason Stedman.
Isn't his name Jared Stidham?
Jared Stidham, whatever.
Okay, yeah.
That's how much the Patriots rely on him, is that they don't even care if you pronounce his name wrong.
All right, let's see what I need. I can pretty much fill it at this point anymore. Offensive guys.
Yeah. And we're on the short turn, so anybody that you saw is probably – you could probably grab somebody, and your second choice is probably still going to be there.
Oh, boy. Okay, let's go with A.J. Dillon.
Cool. Like I said, guys, this is one of the picks where – we were talking about earlier about the situation around players. They don't want to pay Aaron Jones any kind of money. That's why they drafted A.J. Dillon, okay? That's why they drafted Jordan Love. There's a lot of turmoil that's going to be happening in the Packers organization this year. Second-year head coach. He's not really big on Rodgers. He's going to a run-first offense. He's looking for more balance because everybody knows that touchdown regression that Aaron Jones had last year with, 16 rushing touchdowns is not going to happen again. A.J. Dillon is more than capable of taking over if they don't want to pay Aaron Jones, and they're going to give him the opportunity to prove himself so they see immediately what they have in Dillon.
All right, let's see where we're at here. See what else everybody got.
So we looking wide receiver, we looking running back, what are we looking?
Let's go with the wide receiver. I'm looking right in front of us. Oh, geez, Golden Tate. That's a headache.
And look, Professor Chet just said Golden Tate's a headache, and I'll go along with that with anybody as a wide receiver for the Giants. But I will tell you this: I believe Daniel Jones will be a viable option at quarterback for fantasy.
Boy, this is a tough board right now. Let's go with Tate.
Okay, so we're going Golden Tate.
He is a headache, but whatever.
Okay. Now we see Blake Jarwin going off, and it's a name I keep hearing as I watch these other programs. Those of you who don't know, Blake Jarwin is the tight end for the Cowboys. And I keep hearing that he's going to step in and all this other stuff. Do you know anything about Blake Jarwin, Professor Chet?
Nope.
See, me neither. Like, all I hear is that I listen to the Fantasy Footballers channel on YouTube, and one of the guys on there is really big on Blake Jarwin, loves him some Blake Jarwin, thinks he's going to be an up-and-comer, thinks he's going to step into the Jason Witten role and absorb all of those targets that Witten vacated. So, but I don't see him coming in and being able to absorb that kind of workload.
Let me see what defenses we got.
Alrighty.
I think it's time.
All right. So let's see. Check out our draft board real quick. Okay, so we're sitting here. We're in the 13th round. We've got 3 picks left. And if we look at our roster, we've got 1 bench spot, a kicker, and a defense left to go. So at this point, guys, like Chet's doing, if you want to go and try to snatch up one of the defenses that's available, now would be a good time to do it.
Oh, jeez.
Now, I see one in tier 9 and one in tier 4 that I'm kind of high on. But we're going to see what the professor is thinking here on this one.
What? Can you scroll down a little bit? I can't.
Sure.
I can't see a little bit. There you go. Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
And as Chet's thinking about this and he's looking it over, I'm going to tell you guys right now, when it comes to defenses, yeah, you want to look at the talent on the defense, but also try to consider who they're facing in the division, because they're going to be playing those guys twice a year. That's 6 games where if you've got a manageable defense and a really poor quarterback play division, you can get some points and some value at that pick.
I got it. I'm going with the Chiefs.
Going with the Chiefs. So we are preying on the AFC side of the ball for them. Banking on the quarterback play in that division to be absolutely horrid. And, we saw last year where the Chiefs defense just ate up certain teams. Now, I'm like this year, I'm liking Minnesota. I think Minnesota's got a solid D. And if you're in a pinch, I'm liking the Titans defense because I think that with their style of play, the other team is going to be on the field that much because they're going to be running the ball all over the place. And they've got the running back to run over other defenses.
All right, am I up?
Yep, we are up. And
we got left here.
We're looking at either a filler or a kicker. So if you want to look filler, we got wide receiver and really slim for running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me my boy. I'm gonna give me Justin Tucker. Kicker.
Justin Tucker.
Yeah. I'm going to take the number one guy out there.
All right, so we're going with Tucker.
I mean, it seems like he never misses. It seems like he never misses down the clutch. So
he never misses, and he's on an offense that's scoring a lot of points. And I just see at the 15-5 mark, one of my favorite kickers this year in Zane Gonzalez with the Cardinals.
That's an intriguing pick, yeah.
I like Zane just for the simple fact that not a lot of people know about him. Not a lot of people are thinking about how many points the Cardinals are going to have to score to just win games and sometimes just stay in games.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, watch this year, I'm telling you, it's going to come down – a lot of Cardinals games are going to come down to the fact that their defense sucks and they're going to have to sling the ball all over the place. That's why Kyler Murray – and that band of wide receivers and Kenyon Drake are so high on everyone's board.
All right, last pick, huh?
Last pick. So who are we looking at?
Ooh.
Last pick.
Boy.
Now, my favorite player of the draft for late rounds is still on the board.
Trying to figure out who that is. I hate going with rookies. All right, give me Fitz.
And take Fitzgerald.
It's a reach, but I like it. You know what I mean?
Now, for those of you who are new, who are watching for the first time, or who may have missed me talking about this, pretty much every single mock draft I've done, Justin Jefferson is my boy this year for rookie wide receivers. If you're going to take anyone, I'm on the bandwagon, beating the table, leading the marching band for Justin Jefferson. Okay.
I got a C-. That's usually what my grade was in high school.
Now look, I've said it before. We don't look at the grade because when I did this with D-Money, we drafted from the 12th spot. And I'm always telling the graduates, I'm always telling the enrollees here at the academy that it doesn't matter what the grade is because the grade can be manipulated. And I found this out by doing some mock drafts off air. I did some mock drafts from the 12th spot, and I chose the experts pick every single time, and I got a B.
I like my team. It's got a little bit of breath of fresh air. It's got some old timers. It's got some comeback stories. It's got kind of a little of everything. I like it.
This is the after school special feel good story team, guys. That's what Chet has just described. We've got the guys who are always there in your corner. The guys who are going to hold you up in Russell Wilson, go team, that kind of cheerleader guy. We've got the newcomer in Cam Akers. We got multiple comeback stories with Gronk and Darius Geis, CD Lamb and Tony Pollard. I just threw up a little bit in my mouth saying their names, but we make sure that we're telling this. Professor Chet, this is his team. I had nothing to do with this. I like the team. I like, of course, everybody knows I like the Dylan pick there late. The Todd Gurley, tremendous upside with that. And this is something that if you look at, you got the Todd Gurley there, and with the Julio Jones, you got two guys, running back and a wide receiver on the same team. So when you start this on Sunday or whenever they play, you're looking at that game script going, it doesn't matter if it's a run or a pass game script, I'm making points. And
right.
with the quality players that you've got right there, you're going to get points. It's just how many and how often. So, and then with D-Hop is going to play with a chip on his shoulder all year round. And I can't say too much about going wide receiver, because that was my pick last year when I went with Michael Thomas and D-Hop. And then I came back with Travis Kelce in the third. So
all right. I feel good.
My fourth pick last year was Chris Carson. So I didn't do too bad having that with Lamar in the 10th. So that was fortunate, to say the least.
That was fun.
Hey, glad you enjoyed it. Now, look, I want to get your opinion real quick. We talked about this on the last show that I did. I talked about David Njoku and his demand to be traded. My take on it was he might love, like he tweeted out, he might love the Browns and Cleveland and the fans and what they've done for him. But the signing of Austin Hooper to the most lucrative tight end contract in the league was just a slap in the face the way that what David Njoku can do. And if he winds up where some people think he's going to go, which is in the New England with the Patriots and Cam Newton, that's going to be a scary situation.
It is. I mean, if Cam Newton obviously gets his if he's back in full form, I think he could be obviously the number one go-to guy there. New England's going to be kind of scary because they're kind of picking up these pieces. If they can kind of – I heard Antonio Brown's name get brought up again.
I heard Antonio Brown, and then he tweeted out that he's done with football. So I think he's retired.
I know. Right. But New England's going to be interesting because they're kind of on that rebuilding phase, yet they got Cam. So it'll be very interesting to see how it all shakes out. But that could be a good place for them. Yeah.
Now, like I said, another place that I heard was Washington. So imagine, what they had with Jordan Reed in Washington and the talent that he had. You plug Njoku in there and put him with Ron Rivera and that OC, and having basically still a rookie quarterback. I mean, we got Haskins, but we're trying to see what he is. And having that security of a sure-handed tight end to come in and be a security blanket for him, that would be tremendous in my mind.
Yeah, no, it would be. I agree with you on that.
All right, well, Professor Chet, I appreciate the time. Everybody, show him some love. Give him comments down bottom. Subscribe, like, share for me, and let's build up the academy. We're slowly getting into when everybody's going to start doing their real drafts. If you want to have a personalized mock draft, leave me a comment below and tell me how many teams and what position you want to see it from, and whether you want to go running back heavy, balanced, or a zero running back format. And we'll do it for you here at the Academy. That's what we're all about, is being here, helping you. This has been the Dean with special guest, Professor Chet Yoder. Professor, thank you very much again, taking time out of your day. This is Fantasy Football Academy 2020. I'm the Dean, and we're out of here, guys. Appreciate it.